let's talk for a minute about a classroom without a whole lot of student choice and student voice. You're always going to have students who are sort of terminally off task. They get behind. They don't have a whole lot of ownership in their work. And the kicker is that they rarely ask for help. And we could blame students or a lack of maturity for that. But if we introduce choice and voice into the classroom, some of those things go away. And it's honestly, in my experience, been because of sort of 5 pillars of a classroom that has choice and voice. So let's talk about a particular student. We'll call him Chris. And Chris has all of those features of a student who's not functioning well in a classroom that doesn't have much voice and choice. So first, the procedure in a class with voice and choice is still there. There's still this like overarching procedure that's predictable, and students who tend to get off task, they do thrive under a predictable structure, but that structure has to function for them. And so the nice thing about a classroom with choice and voice is that students are able to make choices about pacing and make choices about where they're at and what their headspace is that day. So Chris can operate in smaller chunks of time than other students if he wants, under the guidance of the teacher. So it gives the students some wiggle room in procedural structures, even though there's still like this top tier structure going on. So procedure is one area in a classroom with voice and choice that is affected. Another are the norms. So norms are present in our classroom, whether we speak them aloud or not. But in a classroom with voice and choice, there are different sorts of activities going on, which means that there are going to be different norms for different times. And again, if Chris is not in a place today where Chris can operate under the norms of a certain activity, maybe that activity is just not going to happen for Chris today, and that's okay. It can happen on another day. That's the beauty of voice and choice. So a third pillar that you'll see some effects on are goal setting. And this may be something that's almost not present at all for students in a classroom without voice and choice. But Chris can make customized goals every single day that he has a say in, and that's going to help him bring some ownership into that situation. Additionally, because the teacher is no longer up in front of the classroom and in charge of dictating the schedule and all of the choices going on from day to day, that means that the teacher is more available to be doing some early intervention. So if I see a student like Chris who is off task and is requiring a lot of redirection or isn't taking ownership or who is getting behind, that allows me to choose as the educated professional that this is a student who needs more of my time right now. That doesn't mean that Chris always gets more of my time. It just means that today or this week or for the first 5 minutes of every class period, Chris needs more of my time in that particular class. And that's okay. Other students can thrive without it. So it allows the teacher to do some of that early intervention. And finally, feedback is just huge in this environment. And it doesn't just have to be from me. So as the teacher, I can still continue to give feedback, but also Chris or any other student can be getting feedback from another peer. They can be doing self-reflection. They can be doing guided self-reflection. So there are a lot of areas where a student can get feedback, and they can choose sometimes where they want to get that feedback as well. So when a student is allowed to speak up and use their own voice and start to make some choices about these 5 pillars, you'll start to see a lot of changes in the classroom.